Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Teague's Take NFL Divisional Round Playoff Show. Alongside George and JT, I'm Tim, as usual. We've got some expert guests coming on the show here shortly. We are going to be joined by the great Tony Casillas to talk about some of these playoff games. We're going to be joined by Coach Clancy Pendergast a little bit later to talk about the other two games, the two late games. And boys, round one, the wild card round is in the books, and some surprises there. George, we did our picks last week, and I believe you went 5-1 to my 4-2.
Boom! That's how you do it, baby, man. Two good shots, and yes, sir. I
remember where it was. I forgot what game it was.
I picked the Browns to win.
That's what it was. I picked Pittsburgh. Yeah, that was it. See, I picked with my brain and not my heart because I knew Cleveland would win. But
yes. Well, nobody really wanted to give him a chance, and I know we'll dive in that a little bit later on. And it's going to be interesting to see what you guys' takes are and what Clancy is going to say. Specifically about the Browns game and the Chiefs, because it's an interesting game to me. That wasn't necessarily the game of choice that I'm saying I'm dying to watch, but anytime, I see you, Alice. Of course, we're going to talk about the Packers, man. We got to talk about the Pack, just because of my playing days up there. But I, love Aaron Rodgers too, and we'll get to them in a minute. But the Browns, man, they're just sneaky, man. It's hard for me. Once we get to that portion of the show when we're, getting to the predictions, man, I'm telling you, because I want to hear what these guys say. But that Kareem Hunt and Chubb, man, Nick Chubb,
I've got a stat for you guys, George, that we'll get to later, and I believe we're doing the Browns and the Chiefs and the Buccaneers and Saints. We'll do those with Clancy. But I've got a stat for you that if you don't already think the Browns are going to upset the Chiefs, you might think it after I give you this stat. I might be able to convince you. So we'll have to wait for that. But of course, we've got the early game today, 3:35 Central Time on Fox. The Rams visiting the Packers. After that, the Saturday night matchup, 7:15 on NBC Central Time. Ravens at the Bills. And then we've got tomorrow at 3:05 or 2:05 Central Time, the Browns at the Chiefs. And, of course, the late game tomorrow, 5:40 Central Time on Fox, the Buccaneers at the Saints. And I'm telling you, all of these games are going to – I think they're all going to be pretty close as far as picking them. We'll get into our predictions a little bit later in the show, our official Teague's Take predictions for all four of the games. But as we wait for Tony to join us here on the show, that's the fun of the playoffs. The NFL touts parity. They want parity. They don't like dynasties. It's not good for the league. And I would offer you it's good for the league when the Cowboys are a dynasty. But when it's the Patriots, I don't think it's good for the league. But we're right in the middle of what might be a dynasty, and they're a dynasty in the making with the Chiefs if they can keep things together and keep things rolling. But I just don't know if that's good for the league to have a team that dominant. And of course, the Chiefs, again, we'll get into it a little bit later. But man, they haven't played well to finish the season, and I think they're very vulnerable right now. So it's really hard for a team to repeat going to the Super Bowl, much less winning it. Yeah. So the last time that happened was I believe when they won back-to-back Super Bowls was the Patriots, like in, I don't know, what, 2002 and 2003, something like that. It's been almost 20 years since somebody did it successfully.
It's tough to do with the rules and create. It's a little bit harder to do when you're trying to establish dynasties like that. So, when you're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs and where they're going and where they're heading, as good as they are, I think that.
And I think George is freezing up a little bit on us.
To try to make this run.
Yeah, we ran into some of that on the pregame. But, hey, joining us now, the man of the hour, Mr. OU, two-time Cowboys Super Bowl champion. And by the way, Tony, I don't know if you remember this when we did the show live over at the Maverick Bar. You let me wear your ring a little bit, and I got a little bit hooked, and I had to go get me one. Now, it's a Larry Brown ring. It's not, and I didn't really earn.
Congrats. I don't know how that happened, but, hey, I don't know how you got it. But the fact that you're actually able to hold up a Super Bowl MVP Super Bowl ring, man, that's pretty awesome.
Well, it's a fake one. It's not real. It's a replica from our boys over at the Cowboy House, over at cowboyhousesports.com. He hooked me up with that. He's got all the replica rings going back
you
to
the. You know what you could do with that. You can always, I don't know what your status is, if you're single or married, but I do know one thing. That's great to go out to the club, man. Just kind of hold it up like that, and people sometimes don't even know. You just pretend you're a baller. It's been so long since the Cowboys won. You may be able to pass for a Cowboy.
I don't know if any girls that I'd be interested in age-wise would even remember the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. But so it's funny. We do I do a Dallas Cowboys podcast for Sports Illustrated on Thursday nights, and of course, I broke it out on the show, and I had to show it off, on camera on that podcast, and went out for a beer afterwards, and I still had it on, and I'm just up at the bar ordering a drink, and I swear I had like 3 or 4 people come up to me. Hey, is that a Super Bowl ring? Who are you? And I was like, you probably don't recognize me. I've changed since my playing days. I'm Tony Casillas.
Well, I mean, shout out to you. That's the thing about it. One thing about the rings itself, I mean, it's great. It's timeless, but you personally don't become timeless. And that's a great way to you give away your age, because it's been so damn long since we won a Super Bowl. Yeah. But the fact that you're getting a chance to, this weekend and these games just kind of brings back all those playoff memories. Again, it's an ageless experience. You can go back to the DNA, back to a game in which, the next 2 weeks will unfold and determine which teams go to the Super Bowl. But just, I'd be lying to you if I said I don't, get my juices flowing a little bit this time of the year. But, because it's such a part of what you did. But there's nothing like playoff football. I mean, there really isn't anything like it.
Right. We look forward to this weekend, and then going into championship weekend next week. We talked a little bit about the wild card matchups, a couple of surprises there with the Rams over the Seahawks and with the Browns over the Steelers. But Tony, going into the divisional round this weekend, any of the games, any of the matchups stick out in particular in your football brain?
Well, I'm looking forward to the matchup this afternoon, the Packers against the Rams. I think you have so many different matchups in that game that can either win or lose the game. I think of the Rams, obviously Aaron Donald's just a fascinating, phenomenal athlete. I mean, of course, he's a defensive lineman, but we have not seen a guy like Cam play the game, the level that he has really just showcased. I mean, he makes it look effortless. And you look at Jalen Ramsey, obviously their defensive back against Devontae Adams. I mean, that's going to be a tremendous matchup. And, Aaron Rodgers, you look at, what he's done all year has been remarkable. It's amazing the little thread of someone in drafted as a Jordan Love earlier this year. I believe that's his name. Mm-hmm. His last name's Love. How all of a sudden he decided to drink all those tequila shots and put together an MVP season. But I think that those are really going to determine the in this game who's going to win or lose. But I think when you look at the Rams, I mean, they're playing great defense. I mean, they sacked the quarterback 48 times. Again, that Floyd Little is getting a left tackle that's is replacing a Pro Bowl type of player. So, but yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see what these two teams do against each other.
Well, you touched on it. Oh, go ahead, George.
Yeah, and I apologize for my internet here freezing up, going in and out. So thank you, Tony, for coming on, spending a little bit of time with us. Hey, and what I'm curious to know about is really.
Hey, congrats also with go Bama.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Roll Tide, baby. I'm upset that you didn't put a tweet back out saying you were sorry for all the Ohio State chatter you was throwing out there before the game.
I got nothing, man. I got nothing.
Yeah. But what I'm curious about is with speaking about Arnold and those ribs and playing. I don't know if you've had any rib injuries or not. I did not, so I don't know how it feels to play like that. But can he be the dominant guy still if you're out there running around, trying to get after Aaron Rodgers with some hurt ribs? Does that really hinder this Rams team?
Well, I guess it depends on what they got underneath that 10 on the sideline, whether how effective he plays. That's going to be the question. That's going to be the question going into the game. I mean, how is he going to be able to sustain? I mean, how much pain and discomfort is he going to have? I mean, he uses his hands. I mean, he's active, and I've been hit this before. Haven't had him fractured, but man, I've gotten hit there before, and I tell you, it's no joke. I mean, it's amazing how the core of that particular place in your body that affects everything you do, and that's the question, George. It's a great point. I mean, how. Without Aaron Donald, I mean, you're not obviously the defense that you were when you had him healthy. So I think he'll play through it. I mean, it's a big game. That George, you playing in big games, all of a sudden your body starts feeling a little bit better, and you whatever you may do before the game, you'll do whatever you need to do to get on the field. But that's something we're gonna have to watch in the game. How effective is he going to be able to be play at that defensive MVP level?
So what do you guys think about that, JT and Tim? Not necessarily about that, because I know they're coming in. Cooper Kupp, I believe, is on the report to be a game-time decision as well. You already got Goff with a hurt hand. If you have someone like Arnold, do the injuries become too much for them, considering, the potency of the Packers offense primarily? Are these injuries going to be too much?
Well, for me, I think the Packers just need to do two things. They need to get their defense to actually play like a defense, and they just need to take Aaron Donald out of the game, which when I say that, I don't mean hurt him. I mean get the ball out quick. Don't give him enough time to do as Bill Curry says, what a center's job is to snap the ball and get run over slowly. If Aaron can get the ball out of his hands quickly and just not let Donald get that kind of pressure, and the Packers defense shows up at least a little bit, I don't think the Packers should have to worry too much. But if I think it's really just as simple as if Aaron Donald is able to get back there, get Rodgers off of his throwing platform, and if Ramsey is going to be able to actually handle Devontae Adams at the line of scrimmage and at the top of the route, then it'll be a different story. But I think I don't really see too much of a path here on how the Rams are going to win without their defense being the number one defense that they have been as of late.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so you've got the Packers, the number one scoring offense in the NFL. You've got the Rams as the number one scoring defense in the NFL. We're talking a lot about Leonard Floyd and Aaron Donald getting pressure on Aaron Rodgers. And I think you touched on it, JT. I think the bigger matchup is going to be Jalen Ramsey on Devontae Adams. Of course, Aaron Rodgers, his whole career, has not been a turnover machine. He's got 89 picks and over 6,000 pass attempts. But the Rams defense is on a takeaway tear right now. And I'm calling for a pick six. I don't know if it's going to be Ramsey, but I'm calling for a pick six in this game, and I think it's going to hurt the Packers. And I think this game's going to be close. Spread 6.5, but it's going to be way closer than that. This may be a game where the last team with the ball wins the game.
I think that we're not giving enough credit to those other few people that the Packers have. Yes, the matchup is going to be Adams and Ramsey. I do believe that, and they're going to. They're probably going to throw the ball 20 times to Adams, Devontae, but the sneaky player is always the tight end. I forgot his name real quick. The Lazard and
Tunyon.
Yes, it's just he knows. Aaron Rodgers knows how to find the weaknesses in the people. He knows who he needs to throw the ball to win the game. But we hadn't even talked about the running backs with their guys. That's why this game is interesting, because you still got Aaron Jones, who can play, used to the snow, getting after it up there in the frozen tundra. That's another secret weapon that you're going to have to worry about. And I think there's just more factors, because it's going to come down to who can run this rock too a little bit, is Cam Akers carry the load like you did last week up here in this snow, or freezing weather. I didn't even check to see what the temperature is going to be, but I imagine it's in the teens or something up there. So, Tony, what do you think about that, man? I don't know if you've played up in cold weather games and you're coming out of somewhere warm, does that play a factor in it too? A real factor? Does the weather really, really play a true factor when you're playing?
Well, I think it depends on the outcome of the game. I think that, I played there whenever they were getting beat really bad and it gets really cold. So, you brought up the point about running the football. I mean, Cam Akers had 131 yards rushing. It's a pretty good Seattle defense. So I think anytime you go in a game, you play someone like Aaron Rodgers, you're going to try to dictate the game and really kind of set the tempo. And if they can run the ball, I think that's the thing with this offensive line for the LA Rams is they don't get as much credit as they deserve. I mean, they really are pretty good up front. They got some better guys. They got some really good receivers. But I think the question is Jared Goff. I mean, how healthy is he going to be? I think that we saw what happened last week when the backup quarterback got injured. He's going to go this week. I mean, that's, to me, that's going to be the question mark, is you're going to have to throw the ball. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is acclimated. I mean, he's been doing it forever up in that type of weather. So I don't think it affects him as much. And but bottom line is that if both teams can run the football, I mean, that's the thing about it. Now, you mentioned the tight end. I mean, the tight end has been a big factor for Aaron Rodgers. He's got 11 touchdowns. So it's not just Devontae Adams. It's the other two guys, the receivers. And you know how that is, George. So people have a tendency to forget about those guys, and those guys end up, having a huge day. So I think LA is going to have to really try to run the football and just kind of slow down and try to control the tempo and everything in the game and kind of feel their way through and see what happens. And I think you're right. I think that I think there's going to be turnovers in this game. I think when you put pressure on Aaron Rodgers, in which we've seen before, and he hasn't been sacked that many times, only been sacked 21 times. But they've done a good job protecting him. He's prone to make mistakes, just like any other quarterback in the National Football League. We've seen Aaron Rodgers throw the ball away, make a lot of mistakes, and one of the reasons is because, like any other quarterback, he does not look like pressure in his face, and he will make some bad throws.
So let's touch on the Ravens and the Bills here real quick. Spend a lot of time on the Rams Packers, and I do think, like you said, Tony, at the start of the show here, that's going to be your premier matchup today. But Bills and Ravens, another cold weather game. The Ravens blitz more than any other team in the NFL. However, Josh Allen as a quarterback is better than any other team or quarterback in the NFL against the blitz. So, Lamar Jackson's going to be the wild card factor here. He's probably going to get another 100-yard rushing game. He's probably he will be. If he does, he'll be the first quarterback in the history of the league to get 2 100-yard rushing games in the playoffs. But the key is going to be Lamar Jackson's arm. And I don't have a lot of confidence in Lamar Jackson's arm. He did not beat the Titans with his arm last week. He beat them with his legs. And I think against the Bills defense, he's going to have to be able to throw the ball a little bit. And I just don't know if that's going to happen. Again, I think it's going to be a close game like all of these are this weekend. But I don't see good things happening for the Ravens at the end of the game. Apparently, everyone disagrees.
Yeah, well, no, I think that you make some really good points there. But what I'm thinking about it is the rushing attack, and it does have a lot to do with Lamar. I don't know if the Bills are going to be able to withstand that. There's so much hype about the quarterbacks and the competition and who has to throw the ball and who has to run the ball and all that kind of stuff. I'm looking at the defense of the Ravens. Can they really, truly play like the way they play and slow this game down from that standpoint? And can the Ravens outrush this team to score the points that they need to have? And I do think that because the Bills are giving up a whole lot more rushing touchdowns than the Ravens do. And then Ravens are not also, they're not giving up that many passing touchdowns, comparatively speaking. So statistically, I think, when you're going against the Ravens, they got 3,000 yards rushing, 24 TDs. I mean, there's a lot of poundage going on there. So I don't know, Tony, when you got guys that can, it's a common theme here, but their running style is just different, and they're going to weigh on you and try to pound that rock. If you can't slow them down, then it's kind of hard to, how do you overcome that, I guess, if you're the Bills?
Well, I think you got to give Lamar Jackson a lot of respect, but you can't give him too much respect. At the end of the day, you got to play discipline. You got to be in the right place, the right time. You can't take those chances that you may have made against other quarterbacks, because he will kill you. I mean, he will find the seam. I've never seen a guy with so much explosive. When he runs the ball, he reminds me of Tyreek Hill. I mean, he's like a freaking missile, man, and you can't do anything about that. In saying that, I think that the Bills have done pretty good against rushing quarterbacks, and their philosophy. I mean, they've given up some yards here lately, but I think that they play enough good defense. I mean, I think the thing with Lamar Jackson is you have to, whatever defense, if you're going to play zone, man, you stay in your zone, you stay in your covers, but as soon as you go to man to man, guys start spreading out, man. So I think you got to be very conscientious of that, but you got to take chances with this guy. I mean, you got to hit him. I mean, you don't want to, do anything malicious, but once you get a chance to hit the guy, you want to make him feel it. And that's the thing that you want to try to do. Caesar said, you got to catch him. But I think, Josh Allen, the dude is a player. I mean, he makes plays, and Stephon Diggs. I mean, that dude is explosive. And you talk about matchups, man. That's going to be what are you going to do with Stephon Diggs? Because that dude just lit it up, man. But I think defensively, look, I mean, we used to think about running quarterbacks, and whenever we ran a blitz, you got to be tight. You can't be out of your lanes. Defensive backs have got to be, cognizant of what's going on. But collectively, everyone has to be accountable, man, when you play a guy like Lamar Jackson, because he is freakishly great.
Okay. Well, what do you guys take? Tony, I guess I want to hear your picks out of these two games, and your predictions on the scores.
You know what? Well, George, the Rams and the Packers game, part of me likes the Rams because I think they can do defensively, and then I look at the Green Bay Packers, and you know what? I don't think they've seen a defense like the Rams, but a lot's going to be based on Aaron Donald. But it's hard to me the season that they're having, and you mentioned earlier, I don't think a lot of people give enough credit for their defense. I mean, they can play some defense. I'm going with the Packers. I don't think that. I think that they. I'm going to bet. I'm going to give the points. I think that they'll cover. I'm going to say it's 31-21-ish, something like that. The Ravens and the Bills, man. I don't know, man. I like the Bills. I think that whatever the Buffalo Mafia or whatever that whole narrative is.
Yep.
Man, I just like their coach. I like Josh Allen. I like beating the Ravens. I mean, Lamar Jackson is fantastic. Defense is great, but I like Buffalo winning. Again, it's going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be quite as explosive. Maybe 28-21. I'm going to take the Bills.
Okay. Well, there you have it, brother. We do thank you for this insight and your time, for coming and hanging out for a little bit. And I do have to let you know, I know you don't know Timm very well. You've seen him a couple of times, but boy, I tell you what, he said, as soon as OU gets back into the playoffs, we're going to be able to do a whole lot of talking with you about some college football. So hurry up and get your squad back in here. To the playoffs.
Right. I still represent it, man. We'll be there. Look, hey, as long as we get there. Hey, all of us, man, we're all jealous and envious of you guys. And they're all celebrating Tuscaloosa, and they're making it saying, how can these kids not social distance, man? That's the way it is on campus. So hell, that's just the way it is. So, man, hey, thanks for having me. Happy New Year to you guys. Hope you have a prosperous 2021, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks, Tony. There he goes, Tony Casillas. Coming up after the break, we've got Coach Clancy Pendergast joining the show to talk to us about the Chiefs and the Browns and the Buccaneers and the Saints. But we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this.
ProfoundSites.com for your personal and commercial needs. Websites built, repaired, secured, maintained, and found. Brent Thomas and ProfoundSites.com provide e-commerce development, website development, online marketing, web, mobile, and e-commerce consulting. With over 10 years experience, Profound Sites is responsible for creating GeorgeTeague.com, where you can hear Teague's Take with George Teague every week. Brent Thomas and Profound Sites can take you through the entire pain-free process of building your new website. From initial discussion to planning, design, to coding and making your site live and discoverable on the internet. Contact Brent Thomas at ProfoundSites.com or email him at brent@ProfoundSites.com.
Hey, sports and sports memorabilia fans, this is IndyCar Timm. I want to talk to you about our new friend Chris Gordon over at the Cowboy House, cowboyhousesports.com on the web. Now, Chris is super passionate about all sports, and that's why the Cowboy House is so much more than just a Dallas Cowboys sports memorabilia store. He's got unique game-used memorabilia and rare, hard-to-find autographs for teams across the globe. Everything from the NFL, MLB, NHL, NBA, golf, UFC, soccer, Olympics, even from Hollywood and the political sector. And his store isn't just a fancy mall store. It's more of a man cave that he likes to share with his friends and customers. Come on into the store at 209 South Shady Shores Drive, Suite 200 in Lake Dallas, and you can walk on the Texas Stadium end zone turf. You can sit in a chair from Yankee Stadium or Texas Rangers Globe Life Park. Check out hundreds of autographed jerseys from hundreds of teams. Check out thousands of photos signed with certificates of authenticity. He's also got custom framing for all of your sports memorabilia items. Chris Gordon over at cowboyhousesports.com, 214-551-5978. Thank you, Cowboy House.
Need a one-stop shop for Cowboys news happening over at the Star in Frisco? Click on over to cowboyssi.com, featuring Mike Fisher with 30 years experience covering America's team. It's the most popular of all Sports Illustrated sites and home to the Cowboys Blitzcast podcast. Cowboyssi.com is the place to get inside your Cowboys. With such a talented team of writers and reporters over there, you'll always know the latest about personnel and roster moves, salary cap issues, and draft class status. Click on over to cowboyssi.com and get the inside scoop on America's team.
3R Sports Graphics. Hello, everybody. You've probably seen the graphics that are out on social media every week that announce the guest for Teague's Take for that week, as well as their credentials listed there on the graphic as well. Those come from our good friend Tyler Sanders over at 3R Sports Graphics. Now, he only works for schools, so we need to mention that. Some of his proud schools are Liberty Christian, Parish Episcopal, Legacy Christian, and Fort Worth Christian. These are custom graphics for your school's athletic department. Hire Tyler Sanders and 3R Sports Graphics, and you will work one-on-one with a graphic designer. You will get final score graphics the night of the game, unlimited graphics with a 1-year contract, and you can fulfill the sports information director role of a school, but for a fraction of the cost. And he will handle this for you every week. He puts it out on social media for you as well. He handles that. Give Tyler Sanders a call with 3R Sports Graphics, 713-933-9767, or you can shoot him an email, tsanders2405@gmail.com. Tyler Sanders, 3R Sports Graphics, on Twitter at 3R Sports and the number 1. And check out his Twitter feed. He's got all of the examples. You can scroll through his feed and look at all of the graphics as he's done for everybody. Tyler Sanders, 3R Sports Graphics. Give him a call now. Thank you, Tyler. Welcome back into the Teague's Take. Ooh, that's a hot microphone right there. Welcome back into the Teague's Take Divisional Round NFL preview show. We want to thank Tony Casillas for popping on with us for a few minutes. Talk about those two games. We've got Coach Clancy Pendergast joins the show now, Coach, and welcome back in. It's always a joy.
Happy to be here, man.
It's always a joy, and we've got two games tomorrow. Of course, you're free to comment on any of the four, but we've got the Browns and the Chiefs tomorrow. The early game, Buccaneers and the Saints. Any of the four games this weekend particularly stand out in your defensive coordinator sports brain?
Actually, the one that really intrigues me is going to be the Rams game today. You got Sean McVay taking his team up to Green Bay, going against Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers in that offense. And, Matt was Sean's offensive coordinator at the Rams. So both offenses are kind of like practicing against each other, but in a playoff game. So I think it'll be a game that obviously the weather's going to be a little bit factor. It's a little bit – I don't know if the Rams played in a cold weather game this year, But going to Green Bay, flying in there, it's going to look like Russia outside the window, which they haven't seen from Southern California in a while. And George, you can relate to that with your playing days up in Green Bay. But I think it's an intriguing game. The Rams are really good up front defensively. Their secondary is playing at a high level just the whole season, and the matchup between Devontae Adams with Green Bay and, of course, Jalen Ramsey, the shutdown corner for the Rams, will be exciting to watch.
Very good, sir. That is, and we spent a lot of time on that in the first half of the show talking about that because it is very intriguing. I just, personally, I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to not take Aaron Rodgers and his group over the others. I know there's the stout defense on the other side and some similarities, but I know playing in frozen tundra and how it is, and you can bring whoever you want in there, and they can pretend that like they're not cold and not wear sleeves. That's the over-under we need to take, JT. How many of those Rams guys are not going to wear sleeves and try to pretend like it's not cold and put on the Vaseline and all that stuff on their arms when I tell you what, trying to play – my coldest game up there was 26 below, and I played up there and I practiced in it, and I was dying on the sideline because them little heaters and them little jackets just aren't enough.
Right.
You're not used to it. And so when you roll in there and you're trying to play and your mindset in about third quarter, this is going to be in the middle of the day. The sun's going to go down. It's going to be 6 o'clock. Good Lord.
Right. Yeah, I just selfishly like watching the Rams play defensively. But to the Sunday games, I'm really interested in the Buffalo matchup. I think, both quarterbacks being guys that can make plays with their feet. You see it every single week. And I think that's going to be an exciting matchup. And I think Buffalo's defense is playing a lot better as of late. Leslie Frazier does a really good job, their defensive coordinator. And, of course, Sean McDermott's a defensive head coach and has his hands all over that defense. So they're going to be well prepared for Baltimore, and I'm looking forward to seeing that matchup and which dual threat quarterback ends up coming out on top.
So you guys, I like to hear this from you guys, and it doesn't really have anything necessarily to do with the games, but I'm just interested to know, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are listening and are interested to know which we got one game, they got new guys, young bucks playing against each other, the Ravens and the Bills, and then you got another one tomorrow where you got, the number one quarterback, number two quarterback, basically a historical game with Tom Brady and Breeze playing against each other. Which one really attracts you guys the most? You want to watch the old guys stumbling around and try to make it happen, or you want the young, quick guys? What, JT, Timm, Clancy, which one intrigues you guys the most?
Me personally, I like the Saints game. I mean, it's going to be exciting to watch those quarterbacks duel. I think both defenses have played better late in the season. Tampa Bay is very much a run-stopping defense. That's going to try to keep you off balance in passing situations with the pressures and the coverages. So I think it's going to be a good matchup. And I think that the defensive front, like I mentioned, I think it was last week in the show, that the Saints front is playing at a really high level. You got Cam Jordan playing really well in that front seven, and Lattimore's a corner that can match up on a lot of good receivers, and Tampa Bay's got a good group of them, that's for sure.
Yeah, to me, I think one of the biggest keys to this game is going to be Antonio Brown. He seems to have found his game with Tom Brady again since he's joined the Bucs. He's scored in 4 straight games, including last week's win in the wild card round. And conversely, we know that pressure is a big part of Tampa Bay's defense on that side of the ball. Man, I know the Saints have played better recently. I feel like they struggled against Chicago in the wild card game. I don't see this one being really in question. And it pains me to say that because I'm a Saints fan, but I see Brady and the Bucs kind of instilling their will offensively against that Saints defense. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think that, like we said last week, it's hard to beat a team 3 times, and I do think that the Saints are a better team collectively, but I think this is just a luck runs out game where the Bucs defense shows up something like they did against the Packers that one time where they were playing lights out, and then I don't think that the Saints offense is going to have enough explosive plays in order to overcome this. I think that with Antonio Brown, Godwin, Gronk, I guess he's still playing, and I don't know if Mike Evans is healthy or not. But I think this is finally one time where they might actually be able to put some points up relatively quickly. I'm not saying anything like what the Browns did to the Steelers last week, but something which the Saints might find themselves down 2 touchdowns. And
Michael Thomas, though, brother. Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but Michael Thomas is,
He's still hurt.
and he's a younger, and y'all gonna hate this, but to me, he's a younger Des Bryant. He's a 5-yard slant possession receiver, and there are at least 3 receivers better than Michael Thomas right now.
Man, someone pull up them stats when he was healthy. I know he missed a lot of stuff here, but his volume is like Devontae Adams.
His volume is because he has a ton of targets.
Well,
a ton of targets.
And they're going. Breeze is going to throw in the ball, and if they don't, then they got to work.
Throw the ball, but Breeze is going. Well, all I'm saying is he ain't going. He's not going deep. He's not going anywhere like Michael Gallup's running down the field. He's running hitches, slants, quick outs. And he's a big dude. I'm not saying he's not a good receiver. I'm just saying I think he's not going to be as explosive as some of the other receivers on the other side of the ball might be that day.
Okay. Well, I'm just playing devil's advocate on that, and I have my thoughts about this. Tom Brady, I'm concurring with all of you guys. I just think that there's so much talent on the field, and this is another defense. This is interesting to me, Clancy, as well, just because all of these games we keep talking about the defenses. Ultimately, they all have high-powered offenses. Every team on here has had some kind of success offensively, but it sounds like it's going to keep coming down to defenses, and that gets into this other game, the Chiefs and the Browns. Now, Tim is saying he's got something that he needs to tell us that I'm supposed to be convinced that the Browns are going to win this game. So what are we talking about, Tim?
So we know that the Chiefs have struggled really on both sides of the ball to close the season out. They had, of course, the bye last week, so they didn't play. Hopefully on there, and they had a chance to look at some things and fix some things. But here, I want to talk about red zone offense versus red zone defense in this game, all right? So the Chiefs are the league's worst red zone defensive team, allowing a TD on 77% of the opponent's trips in the red zone, worst in the league. The Browns are the 3rd most efficient team in the league. 74% of their trips into the red zone results in a score. I'm sorry, a touchdown, not just a score, a touchdown. So that's where I see. Now, the problem will be, can the Browns sniff the red zone? But once they get down there, I don't see the Chiefs. And this is a tough game for me, too, because I like both teams. I'm a Browns fan. I'm a Chiefs fan, which is really weird. Don't ask me why.
Saints fan. Everybody fan, man. Pick somebody here.
Man, I'm a football fan, all right? Let's just go with that.
All right.
But I see all this coming down to those red zone stats. Stats don't lie. These aren't even what the so-called next-gen stats. These are just flat-out football stats here. And, the red zone offense, red zone defense can win or lose you games. And that's where I see this game coming down to.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, in my opinion. I think, both teams can put up points. Obviously, it's going to be beneficial for Cleveland to have their head coach back, who's their primary play caller. But I really like Cleveland's offense and their ability to run the football. Bill Callahan, their offensive line coach, does an outstanding job. They got 2 good running backs. They keep you off balance with the play action. And between the 2 teams, I think Cleveland's got the better defense. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring game and going to come down to who makes the stops in the end, personally.
Interesting, because I'm looking at that with this game. I think the Browns will keep it close because of that, and man, they're just so good. But the Browns, they're Not out. I don't know, man.
How do you really feel, George?
Well, they're
Their
losing.
luck's running out, huh?
They're losing the passing battle. The Browns are not, and when you're going against the Chiefs and all the weapons they have, they got Kelsey, Tyreek, and you just keep going and going and going. I don't think the Chiefs are going to be able to run the ball enough, right? Successfully. I think Hilaire, or however you say his name, is injured or still. So I don't know if they're going to be able to rush that.
Wait. Did you forget his name on purpose because of where he played college ball? Is that what you're doing?
Absolutely, I did. I don't know anything about that other school over there. It's like there's another school in Alabama. I don't know any of their guys either.
You got the bragging rights for a whole nother year now.
Yep.
Damn right. I appreciate that. Give me some new gear. I already ordered me some new Alabama gear. But I'm more, and this is Clancy. I guess I kind of want to hear again. It's so redundant. It seems cliches because we talk about it. Run game in the playoffs. How important is that? Versus these teams that are high-powered passing games. We know the Chiefs can move the ball and they're going to throw it, but if they run into any kind of issues, some kind of way, can the Browns sneak in, man, and use them two running backs and overtake them at the end of the game?
Yeah, I think they can just by the way their offensive line's playing, and but they're two-headed monster running back. I like watching their offense play. I think they execute at a high level. I think Coach Stefanski calls a good game and kind of keeps you off balance. And that's, been Kansas City's Achilles heel is their defense. So I think they're going to be able to move the ball and score points. Probably the game will be in the high 20s, I would think, something like that. But they're going to end up winning the time of possession. And then they just can't turn – if you're going to go into a game offensively and try to control the clock and use the clock and try to hit big shots down the field in the passing game, you can't turn the ball over. So the key to me is going to be, can Cleveland, not turn the ball over, but control the time of possession. And that'll be critical for them, I think, in how they're going to go about trying to scheme against Kansas City.
Okay. So your picks on these two games, just those two, Browns and the Chiefs in the Tampa Bay game?
I think it's going to be close. You can't go against the Chiefs at home. Just because of how explosive they can be, and I think Cleveland. I'm looking forward to seeing how they play. But I like Kansas City is going to be hard at home, and I like the way Tampa Bay's playing as of late, particularly like y'all mentioned earlier, offensively. And Coach Arians they're going to push the ball down the field, and if they get up, 2 or 3 touchdowns, I think with New Orleans' offense is not a really good come from behind offense. They're better getting out and getting a lead. They're not as good, I don't think, coming from behind, probably as Tampa Bay is. So I see Tampa Bay trying to get out there, getting a lead early, and kind of forcing New Orleans' hand a little bit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. JT, how you feel about those? I know. No, let's not even do that because we'll make our picks after we come back out of the break. Yeah. Right. But is there anything that stick out with you, JT? The explosiveness of those Chiefs. Can the Browns even slow them down? What do they got to do?
I don't know if I can give you an answer without actually just tip my hand on who I think I'm going to pick.
Right.
So maybe we should wait.
Yeah, I got you. Well, let me ask you this: different game. Is Drew Brees struggling too much right now? Coming back after his injury, he hadn't shown it. Is he going to be able to have a better game? Has he had enough rest from these ribs? Is he going to have a better game against this Tampa Bay defense, who is pretty stout, and they do have front guys that can get after him? They got linebackers that can run with their guys. Can he have a better game today or tomorrow? Sorry.
I'm confused. I mean, I know he's been playing not necessarily as great as we would like him to, but I kind of feel like that's how he's been playing all year.
Okay.
I mean, he's not. Drew Brees is not the one to like jump off the page at you anymore. He's just methodical. He does what he knows where to put the ball. His offense generally just marches down the field. they score a couple times, and then their defense with Cam Jordan is all over the place. They get in your face, they make you mad, and then they throw you off your game. And I mean, especially with the Bears. I mean, who really thought the Bears were even going to score much anyway? But I don't see too much of a difference between Drew Brees now than at the beginning of the season.
Okay. All right. There we have it, man. Clancy, you always do a great job, man. Appreciate you for everything that you do and who you are. And we thank you again for getting up out there early on that West Coast, man, waking up. How many miles you put in this morning? Did you get your 5 miles on the treadmill, or what'd you do?
I got about 45 minutes, 3 miles an hour, level 12 incline. I kind of just walk at that pace.
That just sounds painful. Hearing him say it out loud, my legs are hurting right now.
The running days are kind of bad on all the joints.
That's right. Hit that steam room. You got that steam room in the house too.
I can get that thing going. Trust me.
I think we should have Clancy on again next week when we talk about the Browns and Bills AFC Championship game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will definitely be calling him as we're watching his search and job search and all that kind of stuff. So we're wishing you well, brother, as always. Thank you for coming on. And there he is, Mr. Clancy Pendergast.
Clancy Pendergast. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Week.
Thank you.
All right, so boys, it's time for a quick break, and then we're going to come back, do our picks and predictions for the divisional round, all 4 games. I kind of feel like we've already tipped our hand just a little bit, but we'll take this quick break, and then we'll come right back, and we'll do it and make it official.
Increase time inside your home, noticing all the little things needing attention? Let Repair Resource be your one trusted contractor to tackle all of your home repair needs. They do it all: electrical, plumbing, drywall, painting, and flooring of all types. They can even handle your exterior needs, like fencing, patio covers, concrete pads, and decking. No job too big or small, Repair Resource does it all. Call them at 972-415-1198 or visit them online at www.repair-resource.com.
Hey, this is IndyCar Timm. I want to talk to you about the Maverick Bar and Grill in Carrollton, Texas. It's North Dallas's premier sports bar and grill located at 1616 West Hebron Parkway. It's 16 minutes from just about anywhere in the DFW Metroplex. With all of the live action on dozens of TVs and the big screen, it's the place to hang out and watch the return of sports with all your friends. Friday and Saturday nights, you'll find the best live music in DFW right there at the Maverick Bar. And of course, on Thursday nights at 6 p.m., you'll find Teague's Take broadcasting live with Alabama and Cowboys legend George Teague. Come hang out and be part of the show. Check out the Maverick Bar and Grill in Carrollton, 972-492-7500, or on the web at themaverickbar.com. Welcome back, everybody, once again to the Teague's Take podcast, divisional round NFL preview show. We want to thank Coach Clancy Pendergast for popping on here with us briefly. We want to thank Tony Casillas for popping on a little bit earlier to talk about the Saturday games. But boys, now's the day of reckoning. It's time to do our picks and predictions for the 4 games this weekend. George, of course, we picked the wild card games. We talked about that at the start of the show. You went 5-1. I went 4-2. JT, you didn't pick with us last week, so you're already behind. I don't know how you're going to catch up.
Well, we can just go off of percentages rather than wins and losses.
All right.
That's why this guy's so smart that he thinks of that. Alphabet soup. That's all I know. Okay.
He's our analytical guy. He thinks about all the analytics and the stats, that kind of stuff. And then you're the emotional guy. You're just
emotional.
I'll put it not the right word, but you're strong, man, and we love that and we appreciate that. And
I was the comic relief. That's all I'm good for.
Well, and I just try to be the reasonable one and pull you guys back together somehow and find some middle ground.
Well, and you're the muscle too. We need the muscle.
I wouldn't go that far. JT's a young one, so. He got the one to hit the weight room.
Young buck. Well, let's start with our picks and predictions. Let's go in order here. Let's start today's games, 3:35 on Fox Central Time. We've got the 6-seeded Rams at the number 1 seed Packers. Who wants to go first?
Well, JT's a new guy. He's got the new guy to this part, and he didn't pick last week, so he's got to set the tempo.
What do you think,
All right.
JT?
I think I'm going to take the Packers here. I do like the Rams defense, but I guess staying true to character, I've been low-ish on the Rams all year. So I guess I can't jump on the bandwagon now. Rams fans don't want me on the bandwagon. But
Cares about
at the same time, I think about playing at Drake and how cold it was late in the year and having Jacksonville come in at home to play us. And Jacksonville, I think an argument could have been made that Jacksonville was actually a better team than we were. But it was cold. There was a little bit of snow on the ground. And they showed up on Friday. I think it was Friday evening. And they didn't get to practice in that very much. So they didn't look very good out there in the cold. So I'm thinking if the Rams are having issues, then it's gonna be because it's cold, and I think Aaron Rodgers and the rest of the crew know how to play in that. And I don't know who's going to be the quarterback, whether it's Goff or the young fellow who died.
The other guy.
The other guy.
But are they going to be able to throw in this? I don't know. And Glenn likes my pick because Glenn is the ultimate Rams hater now that they left St. Louis. He's I think he's a Browns fan now. But
well, all they did was go back home. Mad at him for that. Although technically, I guess home was Cleveland because that's where they started. But anyway, I digress. George, what do you think?
I'm going to go with JT, and I'm going to take the Packers. I know he didn't give a score prediction, but I think they win by a touchdown. I think if the line was 6.5, they're going to win by 7 and beat them. And I do want to point out, JT mentioned something about coming from the south to the north. And one thing I can say that I know this isn't a case, this is just for information purposes. When I did play for the Packers and we had to try to go south to play, the one thing that we could do, even though it wasn't exactly perfect, but in the indoor, they could crank that temperature up and make it hot, super, super hot and miserable. And it's to the point that JT was making, that there's no way to make, a warm place feel super cold like that. And it does put a shock system. And Tony hit it flying in and just seeing snow and all that. There is a little bit of intimidation factor. This ain't got nothing to do with the fans. So I'm rolling with Aaron Rodgers. I think they're just too much for him. I think he has a little bit more experience. They're ready, and playing up in Lambeau was just too much. I'm taking Packers 24-17.
All right. Well, of course, if you guys both pick the Packers, I can't do that, reasonably speaking. So I've got to go against you guys. I've got Leonard Floyd, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey all win battles. And I've got the Rams by 3 winning this game.
I can't wait to text you about the middle of the fourth quarter and just say.
So let's see. If the game starts at 3:35, you'll probably be texting me at about 7 o'clock. 45-7. I might be several adult beverages in by then. I might not even know what the score is. So I'll need you to text me to let me know.
All right.
Next on the docket tonight, 7:15 on NBC, which means I guess we get the great play-by-play color matchup of Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth. So we'll get to hear that gold. As the 5th-seeded Ravens are in Buffalo to face the 2nd-seeded Bills. Lots of flash on the field for both these teams. But JT, who wins?
I got the Bills. I think the side of X's and O's, I kind of see Baltimore as the NFL version of Ohio State. I think that their Super Bowl was last week, which is why they did what they did after the game. I think they were looking forward to beating the Titans. From them just winning the game and then going into the tunnel. I think all of that was what they were trying to get accomplished out of this postseason, was beating the Titans. So I think this was that was kind of their de facto Super Bowl. And I think that
game. Yep.
Yeah, and I think the Buffalo Bills are not necessarily concerned with that. They didn't have to play the Patriots to break through anything, really. So I got the Bills in this one, especially at home. Again, it's cold up there. I know it gets cold in Baltimore too, but not like it does in upstate New York.
And a whole different brand of cold up there. Good
Yeah,
Lord.
and you know, Josh Allen, he's got more rushing touchdowns than Lamar does. I think, I don't even know if Marcus Peters is playing. I know he's questionable, but I think as long as the receivers can catch the ball, they can get a little bit of a run game, and they just get down. You know, that's where the Ravens get most of their turnovers, is you fighting for extra yards, and somebody comes in and just knocks it out of your hands. As long as they just get the ball, get down, and march down the field, I think they'll be fine. So I got the Bills.
George?
Ooh-wee. I don't know. You put a good case on me right there, and I guess if we had already did our pregame scripts on what we were going to pick and had a nice fancy graphic up there, this would be one that I probably would have to change because before I was coming into the show, I was actually going to be taking the Ravens because I think their run game and what they're going to do, I just really think it's going to be too much. You get to these quarterbacks and the fight, and yes, I heard everything you said. I just think it's going to be a really, really close game. And after listening to the talking points of all you experts on this show today, I'm actually going to change my pick to the Bills to win it. I'm going to ride with Josh Allen and those guys up there, the Bills Mafia, Buffalo Mafia, whichever one it is.
Bills Mafia.
And the Bills Mafia, I'm going to take them to win it in a super, super close one by 3. Take Buffalo 31, Ravens 28.
All right. I've also got the Bills winning this game just by default with the Ravens trying to blitz so much. And again, Josh Allen's really the best in the league against the blitz. Stephon Diggs is going to go off. Of course, led the league the regular season in receiving yards. I see the Allen to Diggs working a lot today against the Ravens secondary. And y'all are calling for a closer game than me. I've got a 10-point win by the Bills going away, like 30-20, 35-25, something like that.
Okay.
Tomorrow, game's on tap. The early game, 2:05 Central Time on CBS. The Browns at the Chiefs. JT?
All right. So this one was close for me. I spent a lot of time thinking about the matchups and trying to figure out what I actually thought about the Chiefs. I saw what the Browns were able to do. So I kind of flipped a coin, but then I settled on one. I think the line might be too high, but Vegas always knows they always know something.
I've got it at 10. Is that what you saw when you were looking at it?
9.5. Yeah, I got it opening at 10, and now it's down to 9.5.
Okay.
But I'm going to take the Chiefs. And the reason I'm going to take the Chiefs is, again, kind of setting aside the X's and O's. I think the Chiefs can score 30. And if you remember way back from, it was either first or second episode that we did with Money Matters, and I was talking about teams' records when their defense gives up 30 points. They almost always lose, especially in the playoffs and definitely in the Super Bowl. And I think the Chiefs can and will score 30 on Sunday, and that just doesn't bode well for Cleveland. I do think that it can be a close game. I'm not sure. I think if I would take Cleveland plus the points, but I think the Chiefs are going to win outright.
Okay.
All right, George.
And I would put – and thank you for saying that because you kind of helped me feel a little bit better about this pick, I guess, because I am also taking the Chiefs to win this game. I think there's just too much firepower. I think they can score on them. I don't know if Mayfield, if he gets into trouble and having to try to play catch-up outside of the run game, that he can do it. So I am going to I am a Tyreek Hill fan. I am a Travis Kelce fan. I am a Mahomes fan. I'm a Kansas City playoff rooting guy right about now, and I think that they win the game. I don't think they cover. I think they win the game 36 going into JT's model to 31. I think the Browns do score some points, but they win it by 5 and not 9.
All right. Well, maybe I can catch up some ground because I've got the Browns coming ahead on this. I'm going with the red zone offense stats that I brought up earlier. Plus, we also have Progressive Insurance versus State Farm Insurance in this game. I am really sick of seeing Jake from State Farm hanging out with Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. So if I never see another Jake from State Farm commercial, it needs to happen now. I'd be okay with that. So Progressive winning the game. I've got Flo.
He's just mad because he can't get the haircut like Patrick to get the Patrick price.
I don't need the Patrick price.
Well, didn't the Jake from State Farm? Didn't he change races all of a sudden too? Didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and there's a story behind that because I looked it up. I had to know the truth.
Oh, maybe we need to have an episode on that because I don't know the truth. I just know that
let's talk about it Tuesday. Let's talk about it.
He's got Riva Ligo.
But hey, so here's a teaser for you though. The very first new commercial with the new Jake from State Farm. The old Jake was in that commercial. Mm-hmm. There's a tidbit for you there if you didn't recognize.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
Yeah. So in the new Jake from State Farm's on the phone and they're replaying the old one with the couple in the middle of the night. What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm? Well, the new Jake looks around the corner on the other cubicle and says, "Do they ever ask you what you're wearing?" And then the guy leans over and goes, yeah. That guy is the original Jake.
Oh,
so he was kind of passing the torch.
Yeah.
And this is way too much Jake from State Farm talk right now on the show. Browns coming ahead there. And then, of course, Buccaneers visit the Saints tomorrow night, 5:40 Eastern on Fox. JT?
Well, I've said it 1,000 times. I think New Orleans is the better team, but I gotta take the Buccaneers, Tampa Bay, and the Fighting Brady's on this one. I don't know how you beat a team 3 times, and if you do, then maybe you need to look at Bruce Arians and be like, "Hey, man, you've seen these guys twice already, and you still can put it together. You might have to tear it down if you lose 3 in a row like that." And I understand that New Orleans is at home, and they might actually be able to. Do they get fans now?
Yeah, they've always had fans, but it's like 3,000 to 5,000. I mean, you can barely hear them there in the Superdome.
Yeah, well, I just if you got Godwin, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, and you can't outscore New Orleans, who, for the most part, just they have very long drives that net them in points. But I mean, if you can't put up 30 on New Orleans with all those guys, then what are you doing?
Well, he's got
who are we paying? Like, what are you doing? So I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay.
All right,
and I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay to cover because the line's at 3.
Yep.
And if you're gonna take the upset, then it ain't gonna be a 1-point, 2-point game.
Well, okay, well that's interesting, and I really want to watch this just from a historical factor, as I mentioned earlier. Seeing Tom Brady and Drew Brees go at it, just guys trying to survive, trying to figure out how they're going to retire and all that. There's all going to be all that sidebar stuff, but I think it does come down to what you're mentioning too, JT. There's just, a lot of weapons. You got a Tampa Bay offense that's strong. You got a lot of places you can take the ball, whether you're running the ball or throwing the ball. You got a quarterback that's smart and can get the ball out quick. They're going to have to put some pressure on them, but I don't think it'll be enough. I'm going to go with TB12 and those Buccaneers to win by 3. I'm picking 30-27 ball game. Tampa Bay wins.
Wow, look at that. All right. George also has the Yuccaneers.
Yep. You got to go. You going to be a homer on this, or you going to tell the truth, man? What you going to do here, brother?
I'm going homer, George.
All right.
I'm going homer, but something I needed to bring up, and I didn't do it earlier. Again, I love stats. I'm a stats guy. JT, you were talking about Mike Evans a little bit earlier, and Clancy brought up Marshawn Lattimore. So over the past 3 games, Marshawn Lattimore has lined up across from Mike Evans 72 plays. Out of those 72 plays, Mike Evans has been targeted 6 times. Out of those 6 times, he has 0 catches. I don't think Mike Evans, and he's a good Aggie. I love Mike Evans. I don't think he's going to be a factor in this game. It's another reason why I'm calling for Antonio Brown to have a big game.
Yep.
However, all that being said, I'm picking the Saints to win. That makes any sense at all. I have to. I got to pick them. Again, this is a pick of my heart, not of my head.
Would that allow you to catch me? Would that allow you to catch me? Do we got 2 different ones?
Yeah, we've got several. I had the Rams. You had the Packers. We all picked the Bills. I had the Browns. You had the Chiefs. And now I've got the Saints. You've got the Buccaneers. So, yeah, lots of different.
There ain't no way you're going to be able to catch me in the next round then, because that'll put you.
Well, you're not going to pick the Browns to win the AFC Championship game over the Bills next week?
I don't know. Anyway, man, hey, that's good stuff, fellas. As always, you guys got some great brains, and you give the guys a lot of information, guys and gals, a lot of information about, these games and really what to look forward to. So I'm looking forward to this first kickoff early.
Me too. I got to get the beer iced down and get it ready to go here. But again, we want to thank Coach Clancy Pendergast for joining the show as always, and guest analyst Tony Casillas. It's always a joy to poke some fun at OU with him, as long as I'm in a different room and I'm not sitting next to him this time. That's a little intimidating. But everybody enjoy the games this weekend, and don't forget on Teague's Take Tuesday night on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter /Periscope. Alabama great Marvin Constant joins the show. And we'll have lots of championship talk, lots of Nick Saban talk, lots of Devontae Smith talk. I hadn't even seen your list of topics for Marvin, George, but I probably guarantee everybody it's going to be pretty Alabama heavy, right?
No, I think we're going to Alabama stuff, but what I like about Marvin that most of you guys will want to hear is a positive story about overcoming adversity. This guy had to fight a lot of stuff, and he's still dealing with it. I was actually just texting him with him. I won't put all his business out there, but he had some more stuff that he's trying to overcome today, as a matter of fact. So when you get to be around him, y'all check him out, on Raleigh and Constant, and just listen and figure out who this guy is, because he's very inspirational. He's tough as heck to be, 40 plus years old or whatever it is. And I'm looking forward to talking to him on Tuesday.
Everybody loves a feel-good story, even if he went to Alabama. It's all right. It's a good thing. We appreciate everybody tuning in this week for the divisional round preview show. Enjoy the games this weekend. Make lots of notes, because next week I'm sure we don't have it written in stone, but I'm sure we'll do a championship weekend preview show just like we've done the last 2 weeks here for the rest of the playoffs. And everybody have your notes ready. Be ready to ask some questions, make some comments. Congratulate me on my picks after I win every game. And we look forward to seeing all of the Teague's Take fans Tuesday night. Until then, everybody take care. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we'll see you then.